Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we are building Ursula Aggro, Deceiver of All, trying to deceive our opponent into thinking that they can win, and then win as fast as possible. So, Ursula, Deceiver of All, 2-3-4-3. Whenever she sings a song, we may play the song a second time for free. Very powerful ability, especially when combined with powerful songs. And Steel has some of the most powerful songs available in the 3-drop slot. We have Strength of Raging Fire. Okay, that one's probably the filler one out of the songs, but since we're going to be playing a go-wide aggro type of strategy, Strength of Raging Fire can deal maybe 3, maybe 4 damage to a character, and if you can double that up with Ursula, well, that's a double destroy target character, which is devastatingly good. What other great songs do we have in the 3 slot? We have access to Mother Knows Best, if I can find it. Mother Knows Best here. Just bounce a character our opponent control. Double bounce means that the opponent can no longer have pressure to challenge our characters, and they can quest in peace, which is what we want to do. Just quest in peace quickly and get the opponent out of the game as fast as we can with the aggressive deck. And everyone's favorite song in the 3-drop slot when you get to play it, Let the Storm Rage On. 2 damage to character, draw a card. 2 damage to character, draw a card. This card with Ursula just feels completely devastating, at least in my mind. Let's see if that will work in gameplay. That is one of the purposes of this video. I needed a shell for it, and this is the shell I chose. Why? Well, because I'm also interested in playing this new 1-drop Cursed Merfolk. 0-1 has weak stats as you can get, but it's a 2-quester, and if it's challenged, the opponent has to discard a card. Okay, that's a nice advantage. Reminds us of good old 2-drop Flynn Rider, which we'll also be playing. So we're playing an aggressive deck where if the opponent challenges our characters, they get downsides. So we're going to try and pin down their resources, and then when Ursula comes in, we can sweep the advantage in our favor, and hopefully that's enough to take the game. So we're playing 4 copies of Flynn Rider, 4 copies of Enchantress. She's pretty hard to challenge. Of course, our list so far has a lot of 1 health characters, so beware of Tinkerbells. I heard she can cause some trouble. So 4 copies of Enchantress in our deck as well. And the other reason why I wanted to go with an aggressive deck is because we now have access to Simba, Royal Warrior. Did I say Simba? I meant Simba, the Royal Warrior. So it's Kida, the Royal Warrior, is really just a Simba in steel. And since we don't have access to Amber, she fits right into our game plan. If we're talking disruption, we have the Disruptor of All Songs, Ursula number 2. Where's Ursula? There she is. Ursula Deceiver. We have the Deceiver of All. Now we have just the plain Deceiver. When you play her, you get a character in play, and bang, you get to remove that pesky removal song that the opponent has in hand. Just a very good option overall. Now if we look at our curve, we have 1-1-drop, plenty of 2s, bunch of 3s. And now is the time where we need to think about our ink curve. Where does our ink curve end? Since we're planning on having an aggressive deck, we're not going to be playing tons of card draw. Or tons of card draw is Let the Storm Rage On, which isn't tons of card draw, just a little bit. So we're going to run out of resources, and one way to gain back resources is to just ink fewer cards. And in this deck, I plan on inking 4 cards because we have a bunch of 2-drops, quite a lot of them. So we can, with 4 ink, play double 2-drop, play our 3-drop, or play our 4. Well, we can also go 3-1, but I want to stop at 4, and I want a handful of very impactful 4-drops. So let's see what our options are for this list. Ideally, we want diversified threats at this point. And one way to diversify is to go evasive. So Miss Tinkerbell most helpful is a nice way to diversify our threats. We didn't have any evasive characters so far. So if we don't have our bodyguards in play, Tinkerbell can do a good job of just questing, and hopefully the opponent doesn't have a response. The other way that we can do it is with Peter Ban, Lost Boy Leader. Once per turn when he moves to a location, we gain lore equal to that location's lore count. Which means we're going to be playing some locations. But before that, let's add one more character. As I said, bodyguards. We'll want the Prince. It's a nice bodyguard that can quest for a lot. Deck's a little weak to Madame Min Fox, but we'll see. We'll see. So we have our core shell here. Nice 1, bunch of 2s, some 3 drops, and our 2 4-drop finishers, sort of sense, with Ursula, Deceiver of All, being the centerpiece. Our goal is to play her a double song once, maybe even twice, and try to win the game off of her triggered ability. And now to wrap up our threat count, all we need are some locations. So let's take a look at that. They're not in the companion app, so I'll have to present them another way. I want to include a full playset of Fang River City, since it's a top end of our curve, costs 4, it's a 6 health location, so it's kind of tough, and gives us 2 lore pip every turn. I mostly want it for that, but also, since we have puny characters in play, if we can give them ward and evasive while they're in Fang River City, then maybe we can even squeeze in a little bit of extra questing. Just fits our theme and what we want to do perfectly, so 4 Fangs into our deck. Going down our list of location, there's Kuzco's Palace. For 3, you get a 7 willpower location. That's a lot of willpower. Gives you 1 pip of lore every turn, but it's really just that it's tough. And for 3, if you can put a weakling character there, well, the opponent's going to have to pay the price of one of their own characters if they challenge. So again, it's a nice positive ability. Suppose we're out of cards, we can just start moving our characters to these great locations with a nice view of the Emperor's Temple. And the last card we're going to be playing as a 4 of is the Ville Manor. It's just a very cheap location that gains us lore every turn. It helps us finish off these hands where we're playing a 3 and a 1, and just applies a little bit of extra pressure. But to be honest, it's likely to get inked most of the time. But I mean, we can put bodyguards in front of it and keep it well guarded. And this concludes our decklist portion of the video, with the 3 locations that we've just discussed added to Ursula's aggro decklist. And all that remains is to see the deck in action with some games coming right up. We are playing against Steel Amethyst using our Ursula aggro deck. Going first, have Mother Knows Best. I like the Kida. I'm really hoping for something better. Or maybe we just keep Enchantress. Not just mulligan the entire thing. Keep the Enchantress. Try to dig for Ursula, let the storm rage on. We find one of the 2. That's alright. Then we find the backup Kida. Start by inking our Flynn Rider and going with the aggro plan with a cursed Merfolk. Steel and Amber, so we have to be careful about some of the AoE spells like grab your sword our opponent could be playing. Opponent opens up with a Bayou. So I'll take the opportunity to quest and go aggro with our aggro strategy. Opponent's going with a magic carpet. Not overly interested in that Peter right now. Let's double check on magic carpet. 2-1 evasive. Move a character of to a location of your choice for free. Interesting. But we're going to let the storm rage on, and that shall be no more. Just gain a bit of card advantage. It's a 1-for-1, but we get a card back. And we get that 4 lore from our early game characters. If we can replicate that for a few more turns, well, the game should be in our pocket. Opponent goes with a small Jafar. So apparently this is a Jafar Whole New World combo. Opponent gets to manipulate the top of their deck a little bit. But that is just a measly 2-2, which means that we can let the Storm Rage on yet again. Finding a Peter Pan. This time I'm going to ink the Enchantress. I want to reduce a little bit my exposure to Grab Your Sword. As we quest to 10. Whoever said we needed Ursula to win? She helps. Opponent goes Big Jafar. Alright. I'll keep our evasive threat. So ink Peter. Go to 5. Bounce the Jafar. Just never allowing our opponent to do anything, really. Play Kida. And go to 14. Kida the Bodyguard. Maybe I should have played her Exerted. I mean, Amethyst is the color of Mana Min, so I should be a bit more careful. As the opponent lands another Jafar, well, the same Jafar that we just bounced back. Find Ursula, Queen of Thoughtseize. We're going to land Ursula, peek at our opponent's hand. Opponent has Queen's Castle. Let the Storm Rage on, goes out. Jafar is meaningless. And we can just quest with everything. Opponent needs to wipe the board. Which is going to be quite difficult because we know their hand. Not sure what the opponent would need. Grab Your Sword's not enough. Opponent shifts a big Jafar. Sings friends on the other side. Gains 2 lore and will lose the game to our overwhelming pressure. We did land in Ursula. So let's close out the game with her. And call it a game. We are playing a mirror match of Emerald Steel versus Emerald Steel. Probably an Ursula deck on our opponent's side of the battlefield. We do open up with the namesake card, Sponge, as well as a pair of Fangs, a Tinkerbell, a pair of Strength for Raging Fire. So we'll keep the Vild Manor, the Ursula obviously, and we'll try to dig a little bit. Maybe we send away the second Fang. Do want to make sure that I have enough inkables. Fun Mother knows best. Opponent inks an Ursula. Pretty much telegraphing that there's another one in hand. We've drawn another copy of Mother Knows Best. I don't like the Vil Manor on play, especially not with the opponent opening up with 2-2, so we're going to ink it and skip our turn 1, basically. Opponent inks Flynn. Alright. Well, turn 3 is going to be Ursula, and we're probably going to double up on the Ursulas. So let's ink our Prince. And go for Flynn. I'll pass turn back. Flynn Rider. Penalty of the discard. Still pretty strong. As the opponent lands their copy of Ursula. And Ursula is going to prompt us to play our 2-drop Ursula, I believe. because I don't want our Deceiver of All to get beaten up by their Deceiver of All. So I'm going to counter Ursula with the other copy of Ursula, finding a Paramotor Knows Best, as well as a copy of Grab Your Sword. Let's take out the Grab Your Sword. Mostly because the opponent can shift Robin into Robin, and things can get messy from there. And the opponent top decks led the Storm Rage on. That is just completely awful. Opponent double casts it, and shifts a Robin Hood. Gonna ink our Utter the Ville Manor, then Ursula, and I think we're gonna force the opponent to bounce our Ursula. I'll have to double check what that Robin Hood does. Opponent single cast Mother Knows Best. Double casts it. Alright, I'm happy with that. Getting back our Duress style Ursula. Oh! Opponent's been drawing all the right cards there. With a whole new world. Just taking out the cards out of our hand. The Bayou coming in with a Milo. This is pretty bad for us. I'm not gonna lie. Don't know how we get out of this. We only have one Mother Knows Best, and now our Ursula has been taken out. And if the opponent has another copy of Let the Storm Rage on, then Ursula double casting it puts us in a terrible spot. If we go double Cursed Merfolk with Prince, it's probably still our best bet at this point. Those top decks have just been decimating us. Just land some characters. Hope our opponent didn't top deck into a Grab Your Sword or another copy of Let the Storm Rage On, which is almost impossible. At this point, we tried to disrupt our opponent's hand, and our opponent just drew into the perfect answers. Maybe we could have played a Mother Knows Best to bounce Ursula to really avoid the double cast. Opponent goes Shift Big Milo. Maybe we still have a shot at this. Big Milo, whenever it's banished, bounce everything we own back into our hand. We find a copy of Fang. Fang the City, giving Warden Evasive with 6. I have to refresh myself on that Robin Hood. What does Mr. Robin do? I think he draws cards. So gain lore when he wins a challenge, and if he's banished in a challenge, opponent can draw a card. Alright. 3 power. Oh, we're going to begin by singing Mother Knows Best, using our Prince. Milo can't stay on the battlefield. It's just too much. So get it back. Then we can play Fang, setting up a Peter Pan for next turn. Opponent doesn't have the power to go after Fang. The other option is we ink our Peter and go Let the Storm Rage On, second Prince. Maybe we go that route. Although we need to gain some lore. So we're going to be questing with these folks. Going up to 4. What sets up the most points for next turn? I think we need a bit more pressure. Alright, let's Storm Rage On. Just 2 damage to Ursula. Let's start there. And we're going to ink our Flynn and land the Prince. Non-bodyguard mode. Oops. Bodyguard mode, apparently. That's what I wanted. Opponent goes Kit. Alright. Bounces our character back. So many new cards. Kit Cloud Kicker. 2/2. When you play this character, you may return a weak character the opponent controls back to their hand. Opponent could have targeted a prince. Feels like a misstep. That tough guy is actually pretty decent. Probably went a little too fast on it. Oh, with the Bayou, the opponent gets to draw a card, discard a card whenever one of their character quests. Trying to find the perfect song. Opponent passes the turn back. Alright, well, we have a clean 6 here. We go Fang. Double Cursed Merfolk. Opponent can quest for 2, 3, 4, 5 with the Bayou. I don't think the opponent can shift into anything that wins the game on the spot. So we're gonna quest up to 10. And pass it to our opponent with a do your worst. Well, not your worst, like not grab your sword. Grab your sword is awful. We were close. Of course, with the Bayou, I kind of expected that something like that was waiting. Opponent that it just sees a lot of cards. Opponent making good use of the location. And we get another turn. We can make use of Peter Pan. Moving him, gaining 2 lore. The surprise 2 lore. We'll deal with that Ursula, because she's been bugging us. Quest for 2. Could have made it to 18, but 18 is not 20. And even after all of that, we've put up a decent fight. It's that second grab your sword that really was the straw that broke our back. That was a good game. We got to see Ursula doing her thing in action. And our Ursula doing her thing in action. Anyways, lots of Ursulas. Lots of success. And a great game overall. We're playing against Ruby Amethyst. Using Ursula, Deceiver of All, Aggro. Going second, we have a lot of Ursulas, but nothing. We do have a Mother Knows Best to sing. Send away both of the princes. I'll keep Fang just to make sure we have an Inkable. Find Enchantress and another Fang. Now we have Inkables. We have a nice turn 2 in either Enchantress or Ursula. Find the second copy. I'll pass the turn for now. Ruby Amethyst typically likes Friends on the Other Side in terms of songs, so it's probably worth at least taking a look at our opponent's hand with Ursula the Deceiver. Going second, so the high levels of pressure with an Enchantress is unlikely to be successful. So let's ink our Enchantress. And take a look at your hand. Ooh, Be Prepared and Friends. Friends is going away as it's your only inkable. And now the opponent's kind of stranded. Would Be Prepared, Lady Tremaine. Our opponent is low on inkable cards. And we know about the Be Prepared. Opponent lands an Aggro to try and apply a little bit of pressure. On our side, I think we have to ink an Ursula here. We've just drawn too many of them, and we'll land the big Ursula. We should probably take out Aggro. So we know our opponent is not too threatening. We do have double song capabilities if the opponent plays anything. And we still have that Ursula Deceiver to sacrifice their opponent's Lady Tremaine. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's Forbidden Mountain. Sorry. It does nothing. Opponent just moved their character to that location for fun. I'm going to ink the strength for Raging Fire because I really want to get to 4. Guess we'll land Curse Merfolk as well as Ursula. I'll keep on hitting Aggro. It's a problem. Our characters are pretty weak in terms of combat power. Ooh, and Merlin Rabbit is a problem. Because our opponent suddenly has access to cards. Stuff to ink. Find ourselves Kida. So first of all, we're taking out Aggro. That's a given. Opponent probably wants to kill off that Merlin Rabbit next turn. But we can stop that by playing Kida. Then it's time to take away to be prepared. Just happens well with our curve. And we need to start gaining some lore, so time to quest. I'll pass the turn back. Letter knows best, even double casted with our army of Ursula at this point. Not the best. Don't really want to give Merlin Rabbit more chances to shine. Now granted, we can bounce our own Ursula. At this point, I think I'm just going to land Fang and go to Questing Town. Try to overwhelm our opponent. I'll pass the turn back. We are threatening lethal. Off of 2 of Fang plus 7 on board. Although Lady Tremaine is going to quickly deal with that. There she comes, Lady Tremaine. We will sacrifice an Ursula Deceiver. Now our goal is just to survive next turn, so Singing Mother knows best with our Deceiver of All. We don't care about our characters anymore, so Tremaine's going to go back. It's time to sing. So I'll bounce Tremaine. Activate the ability. And we can sing it for free. Can we? No. Send back the other one. Kida can take out Maleficent. And that's 2. I can't really take out the Forbidden Mountains, so I guess we're dead to goat. Let's play another location just to seal the deal in case the opponent is prepared for us. So we lose to goat, but we're safe from be prepared. This is closer than I thought it would be. And I mean, it really highlights Ursula's. I think we played 4, and we still have 1 in hand. So that's Ursula Tribal Aggro for you. Opponent goes to 19, but 19 is not 20 as we take the game by the skin of our teeth and smile in the face of victory. We are playing against Ruby Emerald. Using our Ursula aggro deck, going first, finding a ton of locations. Mother knows best. Cursed Merfolk. Keep the Cursed Merfolks. And mulligan the rest. Trying to dig for that Deceiver of All. Find strength of Raging Fire. Let the storm rage on, but no Ursula to be seen. So we're going to ink our Manor and go for a Cursed Merfolk. Turn 1. Opponent inks a big evasive and lands their own copy of the Cursed Merfolk. So we'll take the opportunity to quest and land ourselves a Flynn Rider. Doubling down on the pressure. Opponent inks a Flynn themselves. And the race is on. Opponent also lands a Flynn Rider. Alright, well if that's how it's going to be played, we're going to ink our Kida. Play Bodyguard Prince and go to quest. Just leveraging our turn 1 advantage. Which is a pretty big advantage in this style of matchup. Rest of our hands mostly removal spells. What a nice little evasive to boot. Alright, so the opponent's game plan is to ignore us completely. Playing a stylish surfer Minnie Mouse. We can sing with the strength of Raging Fire. Sing it with Prince, take out the Mini. I guess we'll let the storm rage on. Find another one. Now we remove the opponent's pressure, we have pressure ourselves. The first song advantage is taking over. This tends to happen quite a bit with this deck. If you can get rolling and start, if you can start the game pretty much and have the advantage, then things tend to go well. It's hard for the opponent to recover. Prince Eric, when it's banished, you may banish chosen character. Well, I choose to ignore Prince Eric. Instead, we'll just land another threat. Another 2-quester with Tinkerbell. And that should pretty much wrap up the game. Passing the turn back. I should highlight Prince Eric here. It's an okay card, but I kind of prefer Namari. The 4-drop Namari that we've gotten from Rise of the Floodborn. It can just sacrifice herself to take out anything. Also, she's a 3/3, so slightly sturdier than Prince Eric. Expert Helmsman at crashing the ship into opponent's characters. It's not the type of expert helmsmanship that I want on my resume. Opponent is pondering, trying to figure out if there's a way out of this. I do not think there is, but I could be surprised. Oh, Kit's a good way. Kit bounces back our bodyguard. Still tough. Prince Eric can take out our Flynn Rider, but our opponent needs one more piece of removal. T10 Ambition. That'll do it. Sacrificing Eric. And taking out the Cursed Merfolk. because the opponent was out of ink to use it, and by sacrificing Prince Eric, opponent can take out our Tinkerbell. That's a nice play. I like it. We're going to counter by going to 18 ourselves. We can ink that Strength for Raging Fire. Let's take out Kit so that the opponent can't take out our Flynn. And land an Enchantress as a second threat. Just trying to make it as hard as possible for our opponent to close out the game. Opponent can't stop us this time, and we take the win off of a very fast start and some nice removal spells along the way. I hope that you've enjoyed this video featuring Ursula and her aggro buddies, which includes more Ursulas, to take away some songs from the opponent's hand. Overall, the takeaway from the deck is, if you go first, Cursed Merfolk into Flynn Rider, into some removal spells, either Mother Knows Best, Let the Storm Rage On, or even a Prince or Ursula, is very hard to stop. And it's a pretty good curve, and it's just overall powerful. The downside of the deck is if you go second and the opponent can gain a bit of tempo, then suddenly all of these weaker cards like the Cursed Merfolk and the Enchantress fall short. Your locations aren't able to carry you very far, and this deck is very swingy on whether you're going first or second. It's not my favorite style. I prefer to kind of balance it more in some kind of mid-rangey way, but that's usually a trend with aggro decks, and this deck follows suit. Now you do have the Ursula into double casting Let the Storm Rage On to kind of bring you out of these harder situation, hopefully turn the table on your opponent. But this is an aggro deck, and if you fall behind too far, odds are you're not going to win the game. The deck felt pretty decent to play, especially going first. So that's my takeaway from the video. Again, I hope you've had a great time. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video or 2 thumbs up if the feature ever gets implemented by YouTube. Don't forget to leave a comment below telling me whether you prefer aggro decks or control decks, and whether you think Ursula is going to be the queen of the metagame. Have a great day, and I will see you next time.